Okay, so we're looking at anatomy of the rostrum orientation. Please stay straight. Okay, so like we said, welcome. We're looking at anatomy of the skull. Okay, that's anatomy of head and neck. All right, head and neck, and then mm, so today watching this. Okay, you're looking at anatomy of head and neck. Know something about your head. Know something about the head. Know something about the neck. And the last time before now, we had said head and neck. We talk about the skull. The skull is equals to mandible, all right? And what? And cranium. That's MC, SMC. Mm? S equals to MC, all right? Mandible and cranium. Now we said there is a part, okay, of cranium that's divided into two, neurocranium and viscerocranium. Those are the important things we learned the other day. Okay, now let's move on. Today we are looking at the neurocranium. It's also called the cranial vault. Okay, we have neurocranium and then we have the viscerocranium. The neurocranium is also called cranial vault. Okay, cranial. Okay, vault. Okay, let's move on and jump to the adult neurocranium is formed by a series of 8 bones. Okay, cranial vault. So it's made up of 8 bones. Okay, series of 8 bones. The four singles are frontal bone, ethmoidal bone, sphenoid bone, and occipital bone. Okay, we call this, is a name we call this CEOs. Okay, CEOs. All right. So we are still coming. You know, we've started building. Say, learn a little about your bone. Learn a little about what? Your bones, your head, and your neck. All right. So as we look at upper and lower limb a little, we look at taps a little. We also look at what? Head and neck a little. Do you follow? Thumbs up if you are with me. Okay. So now, as we're looking at the anatomy of the head and neck, also look at the anatomy of how are these things called? We said the neurocranium is also called what? Cranial vault. And we said the neurocranium in adult is made up of 8 bones. That is 3 plus 5 bones. Okay. And we said the first uh the four of them are single, frontal bones, ethmoidal bone, sphenoid bone, and occipital. So if we are to form something from that, we can say F, okay, suf, su, safe. Okay, so okay, so of of and say FOSE, fosse, mm, fosse, fosse. Okay, that's frontal, occipital, xiphoid, and ethmonia. So we can call them the first one divided into 4. This one are the single, call them fosse, fosse. The frontal, okay, we have the frontal, we have the occipital, we have the sphenoid, and we have the what? Ethmoidal, ethmoidal. Okay. Now, we're still making progress. We said the neurocranium is the bony covering of the brain and its membranous covering called the cranial meninges. Okay, it contains proximal parts of the cranial nerve and the vasculatures of the brain. The neurocranium has dome-shaped roof called calvaria, calvary, okay, and a floor called basicranium. Do you follow? So you can bring a tree from this. Okay, you can bring a tree from this. We said neurocranium, also called cranial vault. Okay, eight in adults. The first four thing is called foci, that is frontal, occipital, sphenoid, and ethmoidal. Ethmoidal. Now, moving away from there, we have three characteristics of this thing. Number one, okay, we said it is the part of the brain, sorry about that, it is the bony covering of the brain. It's the bony covering of the brain. Okay? Brain bony covering. Okay? Brain bony covering. BBC. Is the BBC, okay, of the head. That's the brain bony covering. All right. And the membranous covering, the membranous covering of that case, right, is called cranial meninges. Okay, so um, MC, membranous covering, and the other one was MC, okay, mandible and cranium. This one is MC, which is membrane, which is all what? Cranial meninges. MC is CM. MC equals CM. Membrane covering, okay, is what? The cranial meninges. Okay, look at the spelling. Meaings. Meninges. Okay. Now moving away from there, okay, we are still talking, are still building the business of the skull, are still building the business of the head, and we've started little by little. This is the material someone saying in a certain school said, let's look at it. We are building. Okay, you get something from this, very important. Very shortly, we are going to send a short video on that. Okay, so watch this to the end. So as you practice, you practice. As you pronounce, you pronounce. As we say, you say. That's how we actually build this business. Okay, the skull is the skeleton of the head, and we said it's made up of what? Cranium and what? Mandible. The cranium is divided into two. Cranium is divided into two. The mandible is the lower part, like this part is the mandible. Okay, cranium is, we have neurocranium and viscerocranium. The neurocranium is also called what? It's also called what? It's also called the, okay, the cranial vault, VC, VC. All right, the cranial vault, cranial vault. That's what it's also called. Now, moving away from there, we said in adults, it's made up of 8 bones. The first 4 single bones. The first one are 4 single bones. Okay, first one has 4 single bones. 4 single bones. Okay, that is foci, F for frontal bone, occipital bone. Okay, and then you have the sphenoid bone and the ethmoidal bone. These are the things we found in this concept. Are you following? We've built, though, before you know, we'll leave this page, go to another thing. Okay, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a step. That's why here we internalize piece me by piece me. Instead of scrolling through and you get nothing, just share here and watch how we say slowly. You say with us. As we walk, you walk. As we walk, we walk. Thumbs up if you are with me. Do you follow? Talk to me. Do you follow? Okay. Now we move on. Look at the next two. That's the two paid bones, the temporal and the parietal. The temporal and the parietal. TM, TP. TP me now, TP me transport. So each time you say TP, you should remember temporal and parietal. And you see, parietal is not a new word. We've heard of parietal plural when we're doing tap. You see, parietal, and you're going to hear parietal again when we are doing physiology. So you see this connection, you see this continuation, you see this repetition. As you keep repeating, are you with me now? As you keep repeating, you discover that this concept of skull and head will be internalizing, you'll be mastering it. If someone discuss something on it, if nobody discuss, you initiate it. Remember what we said in the afternoon before in Torah, why people fail Torah? Because they don't have discussion team. They don't have study material, complete study material, correct study material, concise study material, captivating study material. They don't have it. Okay, they don't even have a channel like this. Okay, they look at material or where they can trust. Oh, please do video on this, and we'll be there live. We'll get our friends to be a part of this, so you destroy ignorance politely and respectfully. They don't do that. Okay, next one is team. So that's what we say. So when you are done with this now, drop me a call, drop me a WhatsApp message, an audio, send to your group, study, teach somebody, share. Do you get? To be sure you really retain it. All right. Please don't forget. TM is for temporal, CP rather, is for temporal and parietal bone. Tempora, from this word temple. Temple is here. Okay, is here. From that word temple, you have temporal. Do you follow? Please thumbs up if you are with me. Drop in the comment section. Let's get to know if you're getting any point. We are done with this page, you. I'm telling you. So most bones in the cavalry are united by fibrous interlockings called sutures. Remember that sutures? So the bones of the skull are firmly united to one another, all right, at joints called sutures. You see, the same thing they are saying about the cavalry bone. So let's get back to find out the characteristics of this cavalry bone. All right, we say the neurocranium, also called cranial volvicin. Okay, it is bone. It is the bony covering of the brain, BBC, brain bony covering, and its membranous covering called the cranial membrane. So the first one, membranous covering, is called cranial meninges. As the second thing. Okay. The third thing we said, it contains the proximal part of the cranial nerve and the vasculature of the brain. Contains the cranial nerve CN and vasculature of the brain. Okay, so um it has proximal part and then it has the distal part. Okay, as the base. Number 4 as the base. The proximal part, they are saying a few things about it. Number 1, the proximal part, okay, contains two things. Proximal contains two things: the cranial nerve, and it also contains what? The vasculature of the brain. So you can say brain vasculature. Okay, very shortly, we're going to look at these things we are talking about. You can see frontal bone. You see now? Uh-huh. See the bones we're talking about? Okay. So bones of the cranium, visceral cranium. So you're gonna find it interesting. I find it interesting. So that's just that. I just need to quickly bring that in so you appreciate the concept. Hope you're following. Okay. So we move on. Okay. Um Next thing we're looking at, look at BBC brain. Oh, the brain bony
Okay, in progress, we have here the bones of the brain. We have the three characteristics of the brain. The proximal part has the cranial nerve and the vasculature of the brain. Okay, and then the base. All right, the base. What does it contain? Look at it. All right. Um, okay, the base is also called basic cranium. Not that it contains something. It's called, we are coming to what it contains. So we said the base is called what? Basic cranium. From base, we have basic cranium. All right. While the roof is called what? Cavaria. Cavary. Hmm? Uh-huh. The roof is called cavary. That's the proximal part of the neurocranium. All right. Basic cranium. And we have what? Calvary. Okay, Calvary or Calvaria. Okay, for me, Calvary is okay because you remember the word Calvary. So, summary of what we've done, we've looked at the characteristics. Okay, we look at the joints. Okay, he said the joints in the brain are called sutures. The joints in the brain called sutures. The neurocranium, okay, have fibrous interlockings called sutures. Okay? Sutures are called fiber. So the characteristics are three. The first one is the brain bone, the brain bony covering. The brain bony covering. And what's the brain bony covering? Okay, that's the neurocranium. Okay, and what did we say about it? We said the brain bony covering, please pay attention. The brain bony covering has two things. It contains the cranial nerve and the brain vasculature of the brain. Okay, we also see, okay, now the membrane covering, the membrane covering is also called what? Cranial meninges. Don't forget another name for the neuro what? Neurocranium. Okay, is what? Cranial vault, where things are vaulted. Okay, so we're making serious progress. Please pay attention. Okay, number one, talk about the brain. Okay, talk about the bones in the brain, mandible, and what? Cranium. Cranium divided into two. Okay, we have neurocranium and we have viscerocranium. Okay, now the neurocranium divided into eight. All right, we have TP fossa. Okay, TP fossa. Fossa TP or TP fossa. All right, TP is the temporal bone. P is the parietal bone. F is the frontal bone. This one here, frontal bone. O is the occipital bone. Occipital bone. All right. And then the S is the sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone. Sphenoid bone. And the E is the ethmoidal bone. Ethmoidal bone. I'm going to make this into a flowchart. I'm going to send as a video. Okay, so we'll be doing this instead of looking at this page again. We'll be looking at what we've summarized. Remember, anatomy said you have to have your own summary as you study. So you study, you have your brief. You can make a whole lot of sentences from that. Okay. Then what else do we have? We said look at the bone, brain equals to this. Look at the joint, it's called sutures. This sutures is a fibrous interlockings. Fibrous interlockings. That's what make up the what? That's what make up the sutures. Do you follow? Okay. So we talk about the neurocranium. Three things. Number one, it is the brain. Is the brain uh covering. Is the brain what? BBC of the brain. The brain bony covering. Okay. Proximally, it has contains the cranial nerve and the brain vasculature. The vasculature of the brain. Those are the three characteristics. All right. Now moving away from there, talk about the bones in the viscera, neurocranium. 8 bones. Okay, TP foci. And with that, we've come to the end of this page. If you ask me, I wish we will pause this here. Okay, pause this here. So we move into something else. Remember, the cranium consists of two main parts. Neurocranium, we've already talked about that. All right, let's look at the next concept. It's a diagram of cranium. What can you identify there? Coronal sutures. Okay, we said they are interlockings. You can identify the interlockings there. Okay, frontal bone. We have mentioned frontal bone. Which other structure we talked about you can mention there? Okay. So let's look at the bones of the cranium. Bones of the cranium. Remember we said there are two bones of the cranium. We have, okay. All right. So bones of the cranium, we have the viscocranium. Remember, we are done with what? Neurocranium. You said there are 8 bones there. Neurocranium, also called what? Cranial vault. Cranial vault. Okay. Don't forget some of those thoughts about neurocranium. Now, the visceral cranium is the skeleton of the face, consists of the bones surrounding the mouth. Okay. The bones surrounding the mouth, as the mouth, the nose, okay, and most of the orbit. Most of the orbit you can see supraorbital margin. So the orbit is talking about the eyes. Now, most of the orbit consists of 15 irregular bones, 3 single bones lying in the midline, and 6 bilateral bones. You follow? The single bones are mandible, ethmoid. The other one was ethmoidal. So take note. Single bone are mandible, ethmoid, and vomer. Now let's get back to the bones here. 4 single bones: frontal bone, ethmoidal bone, sphenoid bone, occipital bone. Okay, so now we are here now. The paired bones are maxillae, inferior. So 3 single bones lie in the sick midline and 6 bilateral paired bones. Okay. Hope you are following something here. We are making progress, so we are making progress. Thumbs up if you are with me. I'm making progress. First, we started with the skull, that's the bone of the head. We said it's divided into two. We have the mandible and we have the cranium. The mandible, okay, are the ones that are on the lower base of the of the of the what? Of the skull. And then the upper base is called the cranium. All right. And the cranium is divided into what? Cranium, we say it is divided into how do you call it now? Cranium is divided into two, neurocranium and viscerocranium. Now, neurocranium we said cranial fault. Neurocranium we said also called cranial fault, and it has 3 important characteristics. It is the brain's bony covering, and it has a membrane lining it called cranial meninges. Cranial meninges. Look at the spelling. Meninges. And see? Meninges. Okay. So we are making progress. Now the another thing is the proximal part contains the cranial nerve and also contains what? The vasculature of the brain. Vasculature of the brain. Now the name of that proximal part, okay, which is the roof, it is called the calvaria. Calvaria. Okay, and then the base is basic cranium. That's all. Basic cranium. Thumbs up if you are with me. Okay, so we are looking at the next one now, and that is viscerocranium. We say viscerocranium is skeleton of the face. Skeleton of the face. Okay, so it consists of bones surrounding the mouth, the nose, and the orbit. Okay, and most of the orbit. All right, and see what they call orbit. Okay, now the mouth is the upper and lower jaw, the nose is the nasal cavity, and the orbit includes 15 irregular bones, 3 single bones, and 6 bilateral pairs of bones. The 3 single bones, okay, include the mandible, the ethmoid, and the vomer. Okay, so you can say vem. Okay, and say vem. Okay, VEM. Vomer, ethmoid, and mandible. Okay, so once you're done, write, take a little note. Okay, and what's the note? Vem. Okay, viscerocranium has to do with bones of the face. We have one, mouth, upper and lower jaw. Two, nasal cavity. Okay, nasal cavity. And then three, we have what? The orbit. And we say the orbit 15 irregular bones. Three single, which is the vem, vomer, ethmoid, and mandible. And then six pairs. Six pairs. Let's look at the six pairs. Maxillae, inferior nasal concha, azygotic, azy- zygomatic bone, palatine bone, nasal bone, lacrimal bone. Can see this is the zygo, zygo, zygomatic bone. This cheekbone here. And we say anatomy your body is the best textbook. So as you are studying the textbook, try to locate it. Hmm? This is the zygomatic bone. This is the orbit bone. Okay, most part of the orbit bone, bones around the orbit. Okay, all right. So we have the zygomatic bone. Okay, the maxillae. The maxillae. This is the maxillae. Okay, the inferior nasa. This particular one. This particular one. The maxillae. Uh, the inferior nasa just here. The nasa, the palatine bone. Let's check the diagram. Can we find the palatine bone? Is it in the structure? Palatine bone. Okay. Palatine bone isn't here. So we're going to check up. Is that a diagram? Can we find palatine bone? Oh la la. Okay. I've seen occipital bone. Okay. But you've seen parietal bone. It's different from palatine bone. So meaning this diagram isn't correct. But you're not supposed to label everything. Label a few things and you're good. Okay. So let's continue um, with what we were doing. Let's continue. We've looked at the the mouth bone, the nasal bone, and now we're looking at the bones around the orbit. We said the maxillae, we said the inferior, we said the nasal the zygomatic, palestine, and nasal and lacrimal. So what we do, take just take the single bones first, and then the paired bones. All right. So we move on to the next one. So what do you have? Okay. So we've looked at neurocranial bone, look at viscerocranial bone. Okay. How many bones make up the visceral? We said 15 make up the most of the orbits. Naso should be a pair, and the other one should be a pair. Okay, all right. So can we add one more before we end this session? Ending by 4:30. They said, for the purpose of clarity, we shall view the skull from several positions. Now, the skull seen from above, normal superior. The skull seen from inside, normal frontalis. The skull seen from behind, normal occipitalis. The skull seen from the side, normal laterally. So this is the second thing we are going to bring out this normal, okay, normal appearance is something worth checking. And the skull seen from above. The bone forming the anterior part of the vault is the frontal bone. Will form the anterior part of the vault is frontal bone. The bone, the greater part of the roof and the side walls of the cranial cavity, formed by the right and left parietal lobes. Okay. All right. So you can see now the major margin joint frontal. So these are like description of what we picked in summary. So let's quickly look at the next one. The skull seen from the front. Now, as we move into the skull seen from the above, remember what we had? Because seen from above, from below, from behind, from the side, okay, and all those structures you can see them. So, can we take a little more seconds? Okay, thumbs up if we should take a little more seconds to run through what we've done so far. Okay, all right. So we jack back again. Okay, so we said jacking back again. What do we have? The skull seen from one, two, three, four different perspectives. Seen from above, from below, from the side, and from where? From above, behind, by the side, and in front. Okay, so these are some of the bones that you find in the skull. Remember, they are interlocked. Okay, they forming sutures. Okay, so this is a great session. If you ask me, where we learned about the head and neck, a little thing has been learned about the neck. Please uh, do your best to share so that others can get. There's this there's this tomorrow from 9 a.m. afternoon. We have a short break, so make a point of duty to come. Now, I've shared with you that the next thing I'll be sharing with you is how, look at it here, is the scores seen from the front. Okay. Then, scores seen from the front. After that, we look at this. Okay. So that's what is obtainable. I can make a screenshot of this. Okay. Make a screenshot of this. Okay. Uh, so that's that about that. That's that about that. Okay, so we'll be looking at bone anatomy of the head and neck again tomorrow. I hope we have a nice time. So once again, thank you for being part of this session. I'm really grateful that you're here with us learning this concept of the head and neck. Look at the sutures interlocked interlockings. Okay, we also hear of the breath holding skill. We heard of a whole thing, a whole lot of things here. Um, Viscerocranium, um, neurocranium, viscerocranium, and all that. So please make it a date. It's already 4, what's the time? 4:18, and we are running through what we've done. Okay, visceral cranium has three basic bones that form the visceral cranium. Visceral cranium is the bones of the face. Okay, whereas bones of the cranium upper part is called what? Cavaria. 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 Okay, base is called what? Basic cranium. All right, we're making progress. Oh, what else did we learn? Hmm. Learn about the and that's all we learned. That's all we learned. Okay, it's a pleasure we've been able to achieve this. Let's see how far we can go tomorrow on biochemistry first by 9 a.m. Physiology, anatomy. Okay, let's have a session to still internalize and we'll be fine. Please find someone you are sharing with if you have not shared with anybody, or you let me know what you're doing and what you're achieving. It's good we check up on ourselves and help us achieve the best. So see you tomorrow again. Tonight we likely may not meet, but if we meet in the night, you'll hear a notification. That's why you should subscribe. Okay? And then you should set notify me once this session resumes again. Because we'll be doing a lot of live sessions to make it real life, thereby saving notes in case you want to make reference to check and practice it. Okay? What we did during this live session. Have you received something? Are you with me? Drop a thumbs up if you are with me. Hit the subscribe button, subscribe, share, get someone to subscribe, 5 to 10 persons to subscribe. Okay, who are students of this level doing this course, I want to see how to help them. Do you follow? All right, thank you once again for being in the live session. We hope you were blessed about the anatomy of the thorax, the anatomy of the head and neck, and the size we had for fish. Is that okay? All right, goodbye. All right.